us on Facebook at Daunta A. Long. Follow us on Instagram at Daunta Long. Follow us on YouTube at Daunta A. Long. Thank you for tuning in to Long Talk.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, and thank you so very much for tuning in to another episode of Long Talk. Happy Tuesday to everyone that is watching us tonight. We are so privileged to have yet another opportunity to come into your homes and into your places of where you're viewing us from tonight. And we are so privileged that you have taken the time to share with us. And thank you very much for coming on in and being a part of this conversation tonight here on Long Talk. And I am your host, Daunta Long. And please, if you don't mind, ma'am, sir, if you're watching us on Facebook, please go ahead and hit the like button. Also, if you don't mind, would you share this telecast tonight, because this is a most meaningful dialogue. And if you're on YouTube, those that are watching us on YouTube, please, if you will, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, because I want you to stay up to date with everything that's going on in our community and in our world at large here on Long Talk. So thank you so very much again for taking the time to come on and chat with us tonight. We are so privileged on this evening to have a very special guest with us, one of the hardest working women in the world. You all hear me? Even tonight, we were just a few minutes delayed from our normal start time, and we do apologize, but unfortunately, or I will say fortunately, because I am one of the constituents in her district, she was working on a budget. She was involved in a budget session meeting that ran a little over. As she said, Pastor, I'm working on your behalf and all of the constituents of her district. I'm working on you all's behalf to save every quarter, every dime, every nickel, and every penny. And so she said, but as soon as I get finished, and I am so happy tonight that she was able to squeeze this time to sit down at the table with us and have a long talk. So friends, tonight, would you please help me welcome the Clayton County Commissioner of District 3. I'm happy to call her my commissioner, Madam Commissioner Felicia Franklin Warner. God bless you, Commissioner. How are you tonight?
I am great, Pastor. I am so privileged to be on Long Talk. I feel like I'm one of the most blessed people in the world, because I see that this program has been one that has been broadcast throughout the United States. You've got a lot of followers, a lot of listeners, including me. Thank you so much for imparting wisdom and also just uplifting me during this time that we all needed the most. We all needed the most.
Well, again, thank you so very much for taking the time. I know that you are extremely busy. You're on the go. You're moving. If you're not in a county meeting, then you're actually on the front lines during this crisis. As I have eyewitnessed, you have been out feeding families and people with food items. You've been at various locations throughout District 3, feeding on a daily basis. You haven't been doing this on one occasion when the cameras were out, but even when I was with you last week, you were running late for that meeting because you were coming from a feeding at a local school, I believe it was. And not only for families, but I know you've also been doing your very best to check on all of our senior citizens. Yes, you have been feeding them. So just tell our audience, you're not gloating in any manner, but I do want those constituents of District 3 that are watching here tonight, just sort of bring us up to speed as to what you've been doing during this time of crisis.
Well, I think before I could even say that, first of all, I'm humbled to even have such an amazing introduction and to hear you speak that way. I want to just say this. I'm not just Felicia Franklin Warren. I'm the daughter of Lewis and Alja Franklin, the granddaughter of Thelma Hill Perryman and Pete Hill, Frank Franklin, and Ava Franklin, Mac Franklin. Why is that important for me to say that? Because when you say those things, honestly, I only do what my parents and my grandparents have taught me to do.
Wow.
And that is to be a service. I live by this verse: to be great among these is to serve. Pastor, I live with this. When I leave this world, I want to be empty because I want to make sure that I've given it everything that I can because I'm blessed. My children are blessed. My families have been blessed. And so service is all I know. I've just been blessed to be able to serve in the capacity as a commissioner, but I've been doing it all my life. One of the things I want to share with you real quick, because I know we share the fact that we got family out of Miami, Florida, even though I'm a Georgia girl. I was raised in Miami, and I was blessed to go to this school and graduate from New Orleans School of the Arts. Well, it was one of the most prestigious high schools ever, but the one requirement was we had to serve and we had to document our level of service. And it couldn't just be just some type of service just to be able to get the points. They taught us that our existence has to make a difference in this world that we live in today. So if anything, I thank my grandparents, my parents, and I thank the God that we serve to be a commissioner and to serve our people. So yes, it's important for me to make sure our seniors are taken care of. Today we gave out masks over at Lee Street Park, and that was with Lotta Chinnan, who is a District 3 resident. She's also going to partner with us again coming up this Saturday at Shiloh Baptist Church from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. in Clayton County in Jonesboro. And we're going to make sure our seniors are good. And the other thing is I do feed my seniors because our seniors, because I don't want them getting out unnecessarily. We were raised to where the youth, we go out and we take care of them. And I believe in that wholeheartedly. And I think those values are what's going to make a difference in our world today as we move forward and as we continue to get through these unprecedented times of COVID-19 and the injustices. I think that that's so important.
Wow. 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 So during this time of crisis, not only have you been feeding with food, but you've also been supplying masks
Yes, sir.
to help individuals. I want to
Yes.
also tell our viewing audience, and you may be ashamed of this, but I just got to tell them a little bit about our history.
Oh,
Many years before you were county commissioner, I call you Madam Commissioner, you were serving as a carpool for my oldest nephew and oldest niece. You were taking them back and forth to school with your children. And my family has always been indebted to you because you've been a public servant even before we elected you to do so on our behalf. And
that's what family does, Pastor. I can't call that one public servant because you know what? I have to say this. I got to give this much credit. I have to give a lot of credit to my children's father, but I got to give credit to him because he would take them to school in the mornings and I would do the picking up. So I voluntold him.
yeah,
And I would
yeah.
pick him up too. It's all about community. It goes back to what I talked about before. Just real quick, I was, my family's from Macon. My grandparents lived across the street from me. My dad's family, hold on a second, and my mom's family were right across the street from each other. So there was nothing our families went without. We were all about, sorry, y'all. I apologize. I had this meeting and this is going dead.
Okay.
So we're going to fix it back. There we go.
You go. There you go.
So, sorry about that.
You're okay.
So, all about community. It's a community thing. It's a family thing. My family, we have extended family. They're not, we don't consider them as a public. That's family. Like your nephew is like my baby. Your niece is like my baby. When I see them, we give hugs. They're like, hey, Miss Felicia, those are my babies. And I love your sister-in-law. I love your family. I get to see your sons over at the school as well, where our kids attend school together.
Sure.
So it takes a community to make it happen. We're in this together.
And I got to tell you a little funny story. My niece was just saying the other day,
Um,
"Oh, there go Miss Felicia. It's a shame. Uncle, I'm voting for the first time this year because she just turned 18. But
oh no,
unfortunately,
baby's
they
not
don't live in
18.
District 3. So
Oh my
she was just heartbroken that she will not be able to cast her ballot. She said, because she used to take me to school every day."
God. You have broke my heart that this baby is 18. That is just taking my breath
Absolutely.
away.
She just turned 18 and will be attending college
Oh my
this
goodness.
fall. This fall.
God is good. It's such a blessing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. So,
Well,
Madam Commissioner, if you don't mind, I just want to ask this question of you. There's a date that's coming up that I want to talk to our viewing audience, and again, particularly those in District 3 about, and that is Election Day.
yes,
Election Day. And am I correct in Election Day being Tuesday, June the 9th?
yes, you are absolutely correct. Yes. I'm so excited about that day, especially when, again, when I look at what's going on right now. I tell people if you really want to be the change that you want to see in your community, show up and go vote. Because in 2016, we chose not to vote. And you know, it's so funny, Pastor. I was just thinking about it. We reap what we sow. And if you're not sowing anything, how you expect to reap anything? So go sow your vote. Go sow your vote. You know, I've only been a commissioner for 3 years. This is in my fourth term, and I've truly enjoyed serving. I'm going to go ahead and get this out. I need people to go vote for me, Felicia Franklin Warner.
Mm.
But outside of that, you've got to go and vote because there are a lot of appellate court judges that are on that ballot. And so when you're talking about making a change and being the change that we want to see, those are the folks that are impacting our lives, that are impacting our freedom. Those are the ones when we talk about no justice, no peace. Those are the ones we're having to leave it up to them to make sure that they uphold justice for all. So if you don't know what those people stand for, then shame on you. Because you know, in the whole wide world of the web, there's no reason you can't Google. You could Google and find out anything about anybody that you want to know. Unless you're one of my baby sisters, she has very little footprint out there. But but she doesn't like a lot of social media. But my point is, go and learn about these folks. Learn about these people you're voting for. You got your DAs on there, your judges, your Superior Court judge is right here in Clayton County. You are going to be able to vote for them as well. So it's important that you vote. Imperative. And remember, Pastor, people can vote right now up until the end of the week. Don't forget that. Early voting is happening right now.
Absolutely. And
Yes.
one of the things that I wanted us to sort of focus on here in our dialogue tonight here on Lone Talk is that for the very first time, when I was with you the other day, the young lady shared with us that individuals now have the opportunity, and may I use the word privilege, to
Yes.
vote on both Saturday and Sunday.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so,
Our Sunday voting has passed, and that was huge. I made sure I go vote. I went and voted on Sunday.
wow.
There was no reason people did not go vote on Saturday and Sunday, and they can vote throughout the rest of the week. Yes, you definitely can. And then also, don't forget, Pastor, people can send in those absentee ballots that they've so requested. Now, if you don't want to use your absentee ballot because you have questions about that vote really being counted, then that's okay. I requested an absentee ballot, but I went ahead and took in my card. I just took in my driver's license and I signed an affidavit. And so that affidavit was just stating that I don't have that ballot with me at that time. And I was basically surrendering it so that I could vote in person. So there's no reason we shouldn't vote. Either mail in that ballot, and if you don't have a stamp, get it from a friend. I don't want anybody to think I was buying a vote with a stamp. So, but get it from a friend. Call a friend, you know?
Yeah, yeah. So, Madam Commissioner, do you know if we will be able to vote this Saturday and this Sunday?
I believe so. Let me double check that because I want to make sure that we got that correct. One second here. It's imperative that we get the proper information out. And the reason I'm having to double check is because amid COVID-19, there has been a lot of changes for us here in the county. We just reopened our buildings mid-May, and now let's see here. But I'll tell you what, I'll keep pulling it up while we
Okay,
talk.
sure. But one thing I do want to say to our viewing audience tonight, as Madam Commissioner said moments ago, there is absolutely no reason why you cannot vote. Tomorrow, I believe from 8 a.m. or either 9 a.m.
Yes.
Is it 8 or 9? Do you remember?
Here we go. I got you right here.
Okay, you just give us a moment. We want to make sure we get the exact correct information for you guys.
Yes, and I wanted to get the locations as well. So, as I stated, Saturday and Sunday voting has ended. That was May 30th and May 31st.
Okay.
But you can still vote Monday through Friday, which now we're on Tuesday. You can vote through Friday, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. And those locations are the Elections and Registration Office at 121 South McDonough Street in Jonesboro. Also, the Carl Rodenizer Center, which is in Rex, Georgia. Virginia Burton Gray Center, which was one of our female commissioners, previous commissioners. That's on Fayetteville Road in Riverdale. And the South Clayton Recreation Center, which is in District 3. And the Lee Headquarters Library, which is on Battle Creek Road. And then, of course, the Morrow Municipal Complex. One thing I want to mention is there are a couple of new voting precincts. We talked about that too last week. Make sure you pay attention to where your voting precinct is. They've added like the Church of New Macedonia as a voting precinct and a couple of others because of the new machines. It requires so much power. So everybody, please double check where you need to vote if you're going to wait to June 9th to vote. But you can vote at any of those locations up until the 5th of this week.
Wow. So again, friends, we want you who are watching, if you have requested that absentee ballot and you do not feel as though you'll get that back in time, bring that ballot with you along with your driver's license to your polling station.
Yes.
That you can still have the privilege afforded to you that you can vote at the polling location. Also, we want everybody to know those hours again from 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to 7 p.m. Again, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. That is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, next Monday, and next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday alone.
I'm sorry?
They're closed on Monday because they're getting ready for the big Tuesday vote.
Okay.
They got to vote until Friday, and then you vote Tuesday. But you know what? I got something for you, Pastor.
Yes, ma'am.
You're going to help us with a broadcast, which I'm so grateful for. Our Clayton Excels Town Hall meeting is going to take place on this Thursday at 7 p.m. So,
correct.
We turn it into a vote party, Everybody go and vote before 7 p.m. and come on to town hall, and then everybody just get out your water or grape juice.
Absolutely. Thursday night, and I'll talk about that more at the end of this broadcast.
Yes.
As I plan to assist, as I have in times past, with Commissioner Warner Franklin, because I feel like here at Long Talk, it is our duty to avail as much technological assistance to individuals within our district that can know what's going on in our district, and also have the availability to have personal interaction. One of the things I appreciate about you, you're not the type of person who pushes us off on your admin assistant.
Oh,
I
no.
remember another embarrassing moment. We got to move on because we got a lot of stuff. I remember when I was out eating dinner last year with the family, and you were coming in to get your food. I said, "Madam Commissioner," and I know I was out of order, and but you came
No.
over to the
No such.
table and you engaged me and the family. You sat down. I know I took, very vital minutes off of your schedule, but you've been an individual that has made yourself more than available to all of your constituents.
My
And
pleasure.
that's one of the things that I have really appreciated about you and your platform
My
is
pleasure.
your easy accessibility. And why have you been so accessible to all of us? I know you got a lot going on, but why do you feel that is so essential that you have availed yourself to everyone?
Well, I don't. Again, it's just how I was raised and who I am. I'm gonna be honest with you. I can't take any credit for it. You know, life is short, and we're just here to serve. And I keep saying that. And if I'm here as your representative, I should be able to speak to you and answer your questions. And no, sir, you did not take up too much time. No, you were not out of order. We were in there eating together, and it was a pleasure talking to you because I think we made all of the connections then at that particular time. But it's very important for me to be accessible and available. That's just who I am. I've always been that way. I think the hardest part for me is the fact that sometimes I do have to tell people, hey, I am at work, but let me get Rochelle to get this done for you quickly. And she takes calls as well. In fact, the biggest thing I had to get through, if you want me to be honest, in the beginning, I had to learn how the phones worked in the office as a commissioner, Pastor. So I set the phones up to where they were ringing to my phone and ringing to the aide phone at the same time. And this is the truth. For anybody that want to say that any period of time they couldn't get me, you couldn't. Because the phones were looping and they were going back into one another. But that was just, the mere fact of me really trying to make sure we didn't miss a call. And we didn't realize it until much later. But at any rate, our hearts are pure in getting it done. But it's important to be available to the people that we serve. It's important for me to reach out and touch folks because it keeps me rooted. It keeps me grounded. I like to keep my ear to the ground so I know what's going on. I know what the concerns are of the community because it's not about me. It really is not about me. And if it was up to me, Felicia would be off somewhere just singing or
Yeah.
doing a couple other things. But it's not up to me. It's up to the fact that I know that we are great people, and I want to be able to see us, be able to see that greatness realized in our community every day. So that's why it's important for me to be accessible.
Wow. 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 So, um, tonight we are so privileged because we have several questions from constituents that when they found out you were going to be on the show and they just began to bombard us and inbox us and just overwhelmed us. So I'm going to do my very best because I know you're busy and time is of the essence. So I want to ask you this. Um, Many in the county have noticed quite a few building projects.
Uh-huh.
And first thing is there's a new Boys and Girls Club. You want to talk
Yeah.
to us about that?
Yes. The Boys and Girls Club has been something that's an effort that was brought forth many years ago. A lot of people don't know at one point we had a Boys and Girls Club operating within the county within like a school system. And then they worked to try to build a building. It was something I've been hearing talks of. And then I also know that Commissioner Rooks even picked up the gauntlet. And again, I believe that we're all here to kind of pick up things where they were left, not left off, but to do our part. It's kind of like passing the baton.
Sure.
So with the Boys and Girls Club, that was the one thing that our community asked for. And I got to give all the kudos to Elon Rodney, who was a gentleman that was in the race the first time I ran. He's now a police officer with Clayton County and a product of that area. And even Eric Bell, who ran the first time, he's a product of that area. But those two ran off of the Boys and Girls Club. So I got with them and I said, guys, how are we going to make it happen? And then I started uncovering reasons why it had not happened. And so I just started checking them off, knocking them off. Like, okay, that's not a significant reason. Tell me another reason why it didn't happen. And then this happened. This is the truth. I went to volunteer at Women's Build. That is through Habitat for Humanity.
Hmm.
and it was in Lovejoy. I got a call to participate, got the email, I signed up. Oh, this is going to be fun. I love to paint. Let me go over here and paint, and hopefully they can cover up my mistakes, you know? But when I went over there, I was painting and I met this amazing young lady by the name of Cynthia Jenkins.
Okay.
Come to find out, Cynthia Jenkins is a councilwoman in Noonan, Georgia,
Hmm.
but she's also the CEO of Southern Crescent Habitat for Humanity. And so I started to just tell her some of the things that I wanted to accomplish with the help of others throughout my tenure as being a commissioner. And I told her about the Boys and Girls Club. And she said, you know what? What you don't know is that we have a partnership with the Boys and Girls Club. So I'm going to set it up to where we can get you in a meeting with everyone. So I had a meeting with her afterwards. She came by the county office and met with me. We talked through some things. And next thing I know, honestly, the next meeting was with the executive director of Boys and Girls Club, also the executive director of United Way. Both the CEO of Habitat for Humanity was here, and some other folks from United Way were here. And I will tell you, my heart was just full to have everybody in the same room I'm in now doing this broadcast, talking about the revitalization of the Point South, Flint River, Riverdale, Jonesboro corridor area. It was amazing. And that's how the Boys and Girls Club got going. So it's
Wow.
one thing after the other. Now, I do have to say, with COVID 19, the operations of it, the building won't be up until August anyway, because they're finishing out building it out. But we won't be up and running this summer. But we're prayerfully excited about being up and running during the next school year and the summer. As you know, the governor's putting some parameters for us to be able to continue out the county with our youth services. It's important because we expect parents to go to work, they have to take their children someplace.
Sure.
So we are working through the regulations for safety purposes, but I'm excited about that new Boys and Girls Club. And I got to give kudos to Dr. Armstrong. He's no longer in that working in that capacity, but he was the one helping to push that forward.
Okay. Okay. And so again, you said the Boys and Girls Club will not be open until August.
Oh, yes,
Okay. We had so many residents that were curious whether
yes.
or not you were going, the county was, excuse me, whether or not the Boys and Girls Club was going to be able to host a summer camp this year. But,
The not ready anyway. So of course the county made the decision to cancel some summer camp programs. And let me say that when I say the county, even though I'm a commissioner, a lot of those decisions fall under the guise of the chairman. He is the chairman. He's over the day-to-day operations of the county, opening, closing, safety, and all of that. But regardless of that, the building will not be ready until August. And we added extra space. So we're going to have our seniors on one side and our youth on another side, a cooking kitchen in the middle, and then also a 225 seat black box theater that I'm so excited about. And guess what else, Pastor?
that
For
is?
your down there in Liberty City, I'm so grateful that Mr. Davis, Marshall Davis, gave us free services here in the county, free consulting services to help us make that building as versatile as possible for a lot of different uses so that we can have events and programming in the evening for the community, plus use it during the day for the community and bring in plays. He did that for free. And that was based off of Marshall Davis, the African Heritage Cultural Arts Center, which you know is the home of the writer and the script writer of Moonlight, as well as the director of Avenali, Tanisha, myself, and it goes on and on. So it's truly a watering hole there in Florida, and I wanted to take those aspects and bring it here to ensure the success of our community.
Wow. 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 And so, would you happen to know during August what those hours of the summer of the Boys and Girls Club will be? Have any of that information come to?
Just inked the last little bit of what's called the SOP, Standard Operations and Procedures. I will say this, it will be in line with the rest of our county. It won't operate much differently than when I say the hours won't operate much differently than the rest of the after school programs in the county. It may
Okay.
go a bit longer, but they'll follow their model that they've used everywhere else, and we've identified it we've evaluated and noticed that it's in line with what we're already doing. It's just they're gonna bring that little bit extra to the community that needs it the most.
Great, 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 great. Thank you so much. So, District 3, you heard it. Um, we got to hold off until August. Got to
Yes.
hold off to August. Good things come to those who wait. So
Amen.
let's just be a little more patient. And I mean, there's so much excitement in the air as many of us have been watching the construction and just already making plans. We've been in the house with these children throughout COVID-19, and boy, we want to get them off to that summer camp. But
We like put your mask on, get inside.
but
Yes, sir.
we will be patient, Madam Commissioner. We will be patient,
Yes, sir,
and
Pastor.
we do look forward to the
Oh,
opening.
Pastor, if I could say about that, because it's been a question that some citizens have asked, and I don't usually address too much that's hearsay. But the reason that it is one building, it was because of the SPLOS collection, and that happened kind of before me, in between me coming into office and after Commissioner Rooks, that decision was made, and it was a financial decision. But at the end of the day, the community center will be there to serve the community, and there is a common area in the middle, and they were calling it the intergenerational facility because it's generations coming together. But let me say this, we need the services. It doesn't matter whether they're on the other side of the building or they got a separate building alone. What matters is what's going forth in our community to teach our children about life skills, about morals, about character, and giving them the skill set that they need to be successful in this world in which we all live. That's the most important thing.
Wow, 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 wow. Well, thank you so much for that update. That's been a hot topic item. Next thing I want to ask you, just concerning the initiative with community improvements.
Mhm.
We've seen the erection of fire stations in new fire stations in District 3 and the tennis courts at our rec center. Just talk to us a little bit about what all has transpired over the over the last couple of years under your administration.
Excuse me. It's only been 3 years. It's a whirlwind. The first one that we tackled was the tennis courts at South Clayton Recreation Center. And actually, let me rewind. That wasn't the first thing we tackled. The very first thing we tackled under my administration as commissioner was Independence Park. Because the night I took office, we lost a beautiful young lady. We lost Cherish. She was a student at Mondays Mill High School, and it's important for me to remember her because that was so significant for me as a mother, as an previous educator, and then to come in into office at midnight when she lost her life. So I went in that park and I wanted to see what was going on in that park. And I noticed the overgrown trees. I noticed there was not a lot of programming in that park going on. And then when I would ask around, it was, I get some different answers. So we got in there, redid the tennis courts, cut the trees back, and started having events at Independence Park, which is right off of Thomas Road. That's the first thing that we did. And we had a stand-up Clayton event to talk about the nonviolence movement, which is interesting what we're dealing with right now, because Cherish lost her life to another student that she went to school with. Yes, it was very, very heartbreaking. Her mom is still pushing forward, praying for them. The other thing that we worked on are the tennis courts at the South Clayton Recreation Center. Those tennis courts needed a little bit of attention. Worked on the park there, making sure those things were up and running. And then in terms of just beautification, excuse me, we put in place now an additional what we call Keep Clayton Beautiful. That's something people that want it and wanted to see come back. And what we're charging that initiative to do is to work on areas that we can beautify our community to make sure that it's a place that we can all be proud of. And so they have to seek out grants and grant funding so that we can infuse that funding back into our community. One of my dear communities is the Pine Ridge community. And Pine Ridge, what they did was they reached out to me because they wanted to get new signage. Now we got to tweak the ordinance a little bit, but this was really the birth of it was their ask. And so they wanted to have a little bit of help to redo their signage to make sure that the entrance ways were nice. And I thought that wasn't a bad idea. And then on top of it, a couple of other communities like Northbridge Estates and a few others said we would like to see some help. Duck Pond community is another one. So I sat down with the chairman, I sat down with the COO, and asked how can we make this happen. So we put in place a resolution and a grant process that allows for those various organizations to get funding for their communities. Now, there is a piece of it that we got to go back and tweak so that we can ensure that the funding flows properly, but that's on the way as well. We got an extra cleanup crew dedicated to each one of our district areas. And anybody that's watching, the things don't fall out the sky. There are people that are throwing things out. We want a beautiful community. So we're having to spend more money to get more people to cut the grass and pick up the trash and pick up those things. But we also are working on getting funding to put cameras throughout our community so we can hold people accountable. The other thing that's not quite beautification at this moment, because there are a lot of orange and white barrels, and we'll probably lead into that in a minute, but working on the beautification and the effectiveness of Terra Boulevard, which is the most busiest state road in the state of Georgia.
Whoa, say that again.
The busiest, one of the busiest in the state.
One of the busiest roads in the state of Georgia.
Busiest road. It was next to Buford Highway. When I sat and met with Mr. Oh goodness, he's the director of GDOT, but Russell McMurray. So I sat and met with him because we serve on a board together with ATL Link Authority. Met with him and we talked about it. He sent his whole team down here and we reran an audit of the road. They made some adjustments to the road. I submitted it to the chairman. Some of them required the chairman to initiate with our T&D director, but we got information to them. And because of that, Pastor, and this came out in a meeting, because of that information, that's why they made some changes, because we sent them the data. We were proactive. That's
Wow.
important to remember.
Wow. That's incredible. So currently we notice that there is a beautification project where this most busy highway is even expanding.
Yes.
And I know that's going to help with the traffic congestion
Yes.
that many, I mean, countless amounts of individuals have complained about for a very long time.
Yes.
And we're happy to see that under your administration, this has began. You've played a very key role in making sure that this is coming to fruition. So here again, we're thankful for more of what you've done. A lot of persons, here's one of those tough questions, but I know you can handle it. A lot of our constituents have talked about many of the businesses here in District 3 or South Clayton, as we affectionately call it, left out during the last economic downturn in 2008. And we lost a few key businesses. But exactly how have you addressed this, and what are your plans to continue to address the revitalization and the economic development piece of our county?
I'm so glad you asked that question. First of all, we're doing it through beautification because businesses want to come to a place that is nice, neat, and well kept. First thing. The other thing that I've got to educate our folks on is how our government is made up. We have various boards. So even though I serve as your commissioner, there's an economic development authority that is a separate board.
Mm-hmm.
Up until recently, our previous chair of the Board of Commissioners was on that board, and a previous commissioner was on that board, Economic Development Board. Most recently, we have been able to get some really key people appointed to that board. So think of it this way, we're the commissioners. We deal with zoning, we deal with the roadways, we deal with facilities and so forth. And we also make sure that we put means in place to be able to provide tax incentives to those who are coming this way and want to do business here. So we are a what we call an opportunity zone through this current federal administration. In fact, we were featured at the last NACO conference before COVID hit. They were talking about Clayton County being an opportunity zone.
Okay.
So that We're a tier one county. We got a lot of credits that we offer. And then also we have made sure that we thought about intentionally the type of businesses we want to see in our community.
Mm-hmm.
So in District 3, let's talk about District 3. Wait, before I talk about District 3, we just finished our budget hearing, and you're talking about $116 million total investments in projects have been announced in the last year in Clayton County.
Say that one more time for us.
And $16 million total investments and project announcements this last year.
Wow.
County. But also cannot leave out, you've got Clorox, you've got Fresh Express, you have kebabs, the list goes on. We need to know who we are here in the county. And of course, the logistics around the airport. Now I'm going to skip back to District 3. District 3 is a true bedroom community. But Highway 85 snuggles us with District 3 and Terra Boulevard, only southbound. Anything northbound is in District 4. So everything southbound on Terra and then north, but not even everything, and on 85 is in District 3. So you're talking about the Justice Center, the Aquatic Center, keep on with me, and then you got Jonesboro that owns land. You got a little shopping center there, and then you run into the city of Lovejoy. So when you're talking about developing out Terra Boulevard, people need to understand there are some parcels right outside the Justice Center that we've got some folks looking at for some development, some mixed use development. But District 3 is a bedroom community. We have houses. So on the other side of Highway 85, however, we just zoned for 4 new restaurants, as well as a volleyball area, complex area. And of course, there was an additional, like an oil change, car wash where you could go drive through, and some new homes because it's right in front of an apartment complex. So it's going to be one of our first true mixed use developments right there on Highway 85.
Wow, wow, wow. We're going to cut for a quick commercial break, but I want everybody to stay tuned. On the other side of this commercial break, we're going to continue with Commissioner Franklin Warner.
Follow us on Facebook at Daunta A. Long. Follow us on Instagram at Daunta Long. Follow us on YouTube at Daunta A. Long. Thank you for tuning in to Long Talk.
Thank you again tonight for watching. You are here with Daunta Long here on Long Talk, and we are so happy. Again, if you're just tuning in, follow me tonight here on Facebook if you're watching, or if you're on YouTube, Daunta Long. We are just so happy to continue this conversation with Commissioner Franklin Warner, who is joining us here tonight, and just so thankful for her to take the time. And Madam Commissioner, thank you again for coming on and talking to us about what's transpiring here in District 3 and in Clayton County. And
Yes.
Before the break, you were talking about making sure that individuals know the difference between what is owned by the county or District 3 or the county piece, what's owned by the city municipality.
Yes.
And just understanding that. So can you sort of recap that for those that are just joining us?
I address that is because a lot of times people will think, well, what's going on in District 3. But I think people don't realize we are a true bedroom community. In fact, when I travel, I'll tell folks some parts of District 3, you can't build on anything less than an acre of land. And there are folks that have 200 acres that they live on in the district. 90 acres, and then you've got a true mix of folks as you move into the Riverdale area. Mm-hmm. But people tend to think that every part of the lower part of the county is in the district, but it's not. So that's why I had to address that. So you're talking about Flint River Road, You start at Flint River Road, and then you go all the way down south until you hit the Henry County line. And then you go back over to Highway 85. So if you imagine that, you're talking about the Home Depot, the Eden Fresh at the lower part of the county, which is on County Line Road, the River's Edge community, which is 1,200 homes strong. I love the River's Edge community, the Northbridge Estates community, the Woolsey Road area. And then you come up right around the airport and back across to Terra Boulevard. But if you come back on Terra Boulevard, you're back in the city of Lovejoy. And the city of Lovejoy encompasses all of the new IHOP, which I'm excited about. I do have to tell you this. I went and met with the mayor over there, and I told him, I said, look, I'm a girl that I like to eat breakfast every once in a while. And some people want more, and I want more. I love a couple of other restaurants, boutique restaurants. But at the end of the day, I'm glad to have the IHOP too. But all of that is in the city of Lovejoy. The Walmart is in the city of Lovejoy. The county doesn't pick up again until you get to the Food Depot. And I want to tell you something about the Food Depot for a second. Of course, Eden Fresh, I think about shopping there. There are Whole Foods grocer, meaning like they're all organic at Eden Fresh. And you have the Aldi's. But Food Depot, when we lost the Publix, and I'm going to go ahead and hit the nail on the head with this one. You were probably there.
The elephant is slowly tipping out the room now. Okay, here we go. Here we go. District 3, I hope you're listening. I hope you're listening.
Yeah, we're going to hit the nail on the head. I was not commissioner then. And I think this was my precursor to become commissioner. And I will tell you this. I remember at the time I was still married. And I said, if that Publix leave, then we're going to have to find someplace else. That's just not going to work. So I talked to the commissioner at that time, and I got to give her kudos for this. She worked hard because this was in the middle of the downturn of the economy. And when businesses were leaving, what did you see? Empty areas, empty box areas. We see it in other districts here, unfortunately. And people think it's District 3, but it's not. But we were determined not to have an empty box. And so myself, as well as Commissioner Rooks, we got out there. She did the work. She reached out to Larry Vincent with economic development. And while I'm working, she's calling me like, what do you think about this grocer? We're trying to get this grocer in. She worked hard to make sure that we got that grocer in. And so we have Food Depot. And one of the things we put in the stipulation is they must maintain the store clean and up to a standard. And that was through the efforts of economic development. Remember, I was telling you about their power. Economic Development Authority, Commissioner Rooks, and at the time I was just a complainant. I was upset about it, and so she was calling me too. So, Pastor Long, I've learned to be grateful. Do we want more? Yes, we want more. But I will tell you this, go and patronize those who are willing to stick with us through the downturn of the economy. And then what will happen is other businesses will see us utilizing those businesses, see the numbers, and they will see that the market can hold their business. And then they'll come here and they'll start investing. So there are a lot of talks about new businesses coming in, but you're going to see majority of them probably along the 85 corridor, as we talked about it. If you think about it, you're going to see a little bit on 1941 in District 3, but the majority of it development will probably be across the road in District 4, because a lot of our area is already taken up with the Justice Center, the Aquatic Center, as well as, homes.
Am I silently hearing you say that we literally don't have a lot of real estate?
Outside of home building.
Outside of home building.
It's zoned for homes. Unless you want a place of business in the middle of your homes. Yes. You remember, and I will have to draw it out for you all. Highway 85 is open for development. Highway 85, both sides. Terra Boulevard, the government holds a lot of that side of District 3 on Terra Boulevard, outside of Lovejoy, city of Lovejoy. Just drive it, you'll see it.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay. So still have some more comments coming in here. I want to ask you this. Few of the homeowners are very upset about potholes and other things in the road that are causing injuries to cars and even people. what are we doing about a lot of these potholes and things in the road that are currently in District 3?
Let me say this. I stay on our transportation and development director. I just got to make this statement. I stay on them. Remember, we talked about authorities that
Sure.
rest on the authority of the chairman of the county over operations. They do the schedule for those potholes and filling them. But trust me, I do not rest until I stay on the fact that they need to get it done. You know, we just finished up our budget, all right? And we get what we call LMEG money. And that LMEG money funding is specific to road projects and helping with the roads. I need everybody to go complete their census because a lot of that funding comes from the federal government. So I need you to complete that census so we can get more LMEG money. That's number one. Number two, I have requested for the board and the chairman to put out there a pothole filling schedule. I'm hoping to be able to see that updated. Rochelle is working diligently, but at the advice of Mr. Chairman, I'm going to tell you, please email him, please call him, and me too, because I'm staying on him. But you got to stay on them directly because that's under the auspice of operations. Please, please help me help you with those potholes. Fill out your census, send it to me, and call the chairman of the county who's over operations. Please help me help you. It doesn't make me happy, Pastor Long, to see
Sure, I
that truck
understand.
smiling. But when I send that email, I might be smiling, but it's not too many smiles coming through that email on words.
Wonderful, wonderful. Listen, I got to ask you this, and I've got a lot of questions coming in, but I'm going to nail these down to two more because I know you're very busy. This big idea of MARTA
That's
in
your favorite subject.
yeah, MARTA. Everybody's talking about MARTA. Where are we at currently with MARTA? What has transpired over the last 12 or 18 months with MARTA?
All right, so we just had a presentation from MARTA tonight. So I urge everyone to go to Clayton County, ga.gov, to see that presentation, and you'll hear it even directly from the CEO, Jeff Parker himself. But let me tell you, years ago, Clayton County voted, prior to Commissioner Franklin Warner, me, Felicia coming in, voted to have MARTA come into the county. And we committed 1 cent to having transportation in our community. 1/2 of that penny was voted on to be placed in reserve for a high capacity transit option. Right? You heard me. High capacity transit option. And so, of course, everybody heard train, which, yeah, I heard it too. But you know, they say you got to make sure that you read the details. So most recently, MARTA just approved the 15th Amendment. And it was your commissioner of District 3 who stayed at that table. And then I even stepped away from the table when they were not serving something that I thought that would be appetizing to the people I serve. So we kept fighting and fighting until we can make sure we get some things in place and get some assurities. Now, of course, amid COVID-19, all of that work is really going to be up to the hands of fate, depending on how much we can pull in with sales. But when you're talking about the SPLOS, that's a special purpose local option sales tax. That comes from people who are coming through our county and spending money in our county. And that funding is being utilized to fund MARTA within Clayton County. But we have 2 people on that board who vote for it. I got to tell you this, though, Pastor. Talk about faith. For whatever reason, it fell on my heart to join the ATL Transit Link Authority. The Transit Link Authority is responsible for receiving as well as approving and directing all funding, federal and state funding for transportation among 13 counties. And I serve as the vice chair.
Wow.
I'm blessed and grateful and humbled.
Wow.
That's how we're going to make a difference. When you can sit at the table where the money is coming in and you can watch that money and you can vote And I'm not saying that I will always have the majority of 13 counties there. There's Gwinnett, there's Fulton, and then there's even the city of Atlanta. Mayor Bottom serves on that board with me. CEO Thurman serves on that board. Chuck Warburton serves on that board out of Lawrenceville. Charlotte Nash, Chairwoman Nash out of Gwinnett serves on that board. And it is your commissioner of District 3 that was unanimously elected as the vice chair. That means that I see everything that goes on with finances. That's how we're going to keep the conversation going, keep the pressure on MARTA to make sure that they deliver to the people of Clayton County what they promised to us.
Wow, wow. Thank you so much for
Thank
giving
you.
us that overview on what's transpiring, because there are many different conversations being had as to what's going on with MARTA, and are we going to get those trains, and
Yeah.
what about those buses, and just all of the things. I have noticed that there have been quite a few bus station.
Yes.
You want to talk
Yeah.
about that quickly?
Oh, yes, I do. There's a news article about that. And I will say, you talk about embarrassing moments. Sometimes, Pastor, you can be very professional, and I can act like that girl that graduated from the University of Miami. But every once in a while, I turn into my grandmama Thelma Hill, and my grandmama would just tell it like a TI is. So in the beginning, they were giving us all these excuses why they couldn't give us shelters. And I'm sitting there like, that does not work for me. And so I never forget, I was on the call with the CEO and a couple of his top folks. And he kept trying to convince me that the percentage of bus shelters they were putting in was going to be adequate for us. And I'm going to tell y'all the truth. I just stopped. And yes, my degree is in accounting. I stopped. I said, let me help you understand something. Y'all got some Fred Sanford math going on over there. And they were like, what is the commissioner talking about? You don't remember Fred Sanford, Pastor? He would say carry the 2 to the 3 to the square root of 4 to get to whatever number he wanted to get to. And that's how it felt. Because you can't tell me that those shelters were costing $10,000 all of a sudden per shelter. And now when it's time for you to pass the 15th Amendment, shelters go up like that. So sometimes you got to know your leverage. Sometimes you just got to watch, you got to read and pay attention and let them know that it doesn't work. And I'm excited about the new shelter that's going up at the Justice Center. That's been one of a real negotiation effort. I got to give credit to none other than Mr. Farmer, who comes to all the board meetings, because I had brought that up before the board probably a year prior. And Mr. Farmer was not going to let it go. And I was ready to make it happen by any means necessary. But that shelter, which is going to be a hub, a transportation hub, right there in District 3, will be completed prayerfully June 15th.
Wow.
June 15th. Isn't that exciting?
Wow.
And I got to tell you, I've got my notes here. Hold on a second. I want to tell you how much they've spent on this hub, because I'm really, really, really excited about that. That's been one that we really had to push to make happen. I want to say it was about 15 grand that they're spending on it to make it happen. And that came through efforts of working with the Superior Court judge, the Chief Superior Court judge, Judge Geronda Carter, as well as Sheriff Hill. Because the Justice Center is protected by the sheriff, and the Superior Court judge, Chief Superior Court judge, is the one that rules when it's open, when it's closed. It's all about communication and all about relationships to make those things happen.
Right. Great, great, great. So we should look for that in and around June 15th is what I'm hearing you say.
You got it. We're going to do a virtual and a physical grand opening of it.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Well, Madam Commissioner, I know time has gotten away from us, but I want to say to those that are watching, we're still getting an abundance of questions that are coming in. And we do want to field all these questions, but I do want to say to all of you that are watching, on this Thursday night, there will be a virtual town hall meeting. And I need every person that can go to FeliciaFranklinWarner.com so that you can get the information on how you can be a part of this virtual town hall. Due to the continued shelter in place, we will not be able to physically meet
Right.
as we've done many times in past. And that's why the commissioner said earlier, I've gone out of my way to help and to aid, to try to use as many avenues with technological advancement to help us broadcast it on various platforms. And so Thursday night, I need every person to visit FeliciaFranklinWarner.com so you can get that pertinent information as to how you, ma'am, and how you, sir, can be a part of this town hall meeting. Again, Commissioner, thank you so very much for taking the time to just share with us. We appreciate you, and thank you so very much for what you're doing for the constituents of District 3.
Pastor, I appreciate you and your beautiful family for representing District 3. Before I leave, I have to say thank you to you for coming out at the last minute when COVID-19 first began. And you called me and you said, Commissioner, how are you going to broadcast? And I'm like, we're going to go live. And then you went, okay, but do you have this and that? I'm like, no, sir. Everybody's at home. The chairman said everybody home. It's just me and my aide, and we will be over 6 feet apart. And you did not hesitate to show up at the last minute to make it happen. So I'm ever so grateful. But I just want to leave it with this. Even though I am seeking re-election as Commissioner of District 3. But our mantra is Together Clayton Excels, because there is no I in team. It's all about moving forward collectively, making policy collectively, solving issues collectively. And I'm just so proud of the amazing people that live in our community, such as you, Pastor Daunta Long, and your beautiful family. And then also I got to give a shout out to Carlos and his family, also Lata Chinen, who matched for every dollar that was raised to help those that were in need during this COVID-19 epidemic. She gave $10,000. That's Lata Chinen, who lives in our district, who's a business owner as well. And I got to definitely say thank you to our amazing pharmacist, Dr. Jack, who lives in our community and owns a business in our community, always giving back. Mapeller Dawn. I mean, the list goes on and on of great people who live in our community. And I just want people to know how great we are. I want us to be able to pull those resources together so that we can solve the issues in our community and plan for a better future for all of us. So I can't thank you enough for that. And I'm just so excited about speaking it into existence, only because I believe that we have what we say, that I'm going to be able to serve the people for the next term, because we're not done yet. We got so much more work to do. I'm just now really, really learning the ropes and getting it done. But I don't want anybody to lose hope, Pastor, in the midst of everything going on. I talked to one of our young people last night, stayed on the phone with him for a while. And, something struck me. He said, you all are asking us what is our ask, but we're expecting you to work with us to help us get to where we need to be. That spoke to me. So we've got a lot more work to do, and I'm grateful that we live in Clayton County, where we have law enforcement who are held accountable. We have a police chief that holds his folks accountable. We have a sheriff that holds folks accountable. We have a DA that will listen, that's in the community. We have a solicitor general that's out there, and our Superior Court judges are awesome. So I say all of that to say that we are a blessed county. We need to be able to count our blessings while we're getting through this tough time. But please do not lose hope. Keep the faith while we're exercising wisdom. And at the end of the day, I need y'all to go vote. Go vote and complete your census, 2020 census, and go vote.
Again, thank you so much, Madam Commissioner. We appreciate you for taking the time, and God bless you.
God bless you, Pastor. Have a good evening.
All right, you take care. Take care.
Take care.
Friends, tonight we are so thankful that we've had this opportunity to talk to one of our public officials, particularly my public official, because I often believe that you have to start where you live. while we all seek for changes on the federal level, and while we all seek for changes on the state level, most of us are within just an arm's reach of a county commissioner or a city councilman or someone that no doubt lives in our community, who is a part of many of the laws that govern us and ordinances that must be carried out. And we're in a crucial time. We're in a crucial time, particularly here in the state of Georgia, because we have a lot at stake, and I don't want anybody to allow this date to get past you. And again, election day here in the state of Georgia is 1 week from today, Tuesday, June 9th. Tuesday, June the 9th. I need you, ma'am, I need you, sir, to prepare yourself to go to your nearest polling station. If you don't know where your polling station is, there's a wonderful website. I don't have it on the screen, but it's called headcount.org. Headcount.org. You can go to that website and they will assist you in understanding where your polling station is closest to you and where you should be voting. I say that we need to get out and vote because if we wish to affect change in our communities, then we need our voices to be heard. Yes, I said the other day, rioting is the voice of the unheard. But for those of us who know what to do, and for those of us that have been around for a while, we realize, particularly, I don't want to keep announcing, but right here in my county, only 3 out of every 10 persons went and voted in our last election cycle. That's a bit disappointing. So I'm really counting on those that are in my community, in my county, and in my city, and in my region to get out and vote. So let's vote every day this week, tomorrow, Wednesday, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. Thursday, 8 a.m., 7 p.m. Friday, 8 a.m., 7 p.m. And then next Tuesday, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. because our voices must be heard. Before you go, please remember, always stay informed, always stay connected to us here on Long Talk. I want you to go to YouTube. Those that are watching on YouTube, thank you so much. Please, before we log off tonight, hit that subscription button, hit that notification bell, because there are many more topics that I want to share with you in the days and weeks to come. If you're here on Facebook, many of your neighbors did not get a chance to watch this, particularly a lot of those in District 3. Please share this with other residents in our community. A lot of people have questions about our businesses, about the homeowners, about all that's going on. So I want you to do that if you can. Well, we got to run. I appreciate all of you that watch. I thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Listen, we will not broadcast this Thursday because we will be a part of the virtual town hall. So I'll be back next Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Thank you so much, friends. God bless you. And you've been a part of Long Talk.
Follow us on Facebook at Daunta A. Long. Follow us on Instagram at Daunta Long. Follow us on YouTube at Daunta A. Long. Thank you for tuning in to Long Talk.
Wow. Okay, great. I'm getting all kind of messages.
Well, you know what? Let me say this. All you got to do is you can screenshot it, but send me the questions, and we will get back to the people. I don't mind. There's no question that's too hard. I meant to tell you before we started, of course, you probably would have got some questions from the opponents, which is fine. but some may be genuine and some may not be as genuine. But it's part of it's part of
All
the.
I know is this gentleman, Timothy Vondell,
I knew that would happen. Yes.
he came through the neighborhood Saturday blowing his horn.
Ah,
And
yes.
okay, quickly, I know you got to run. Friday night, they're rioting downtown, right?
Yes.
This is about
SWAT team. I was on at home with our SWAT team, and I saw them off the other day. Then
okay. So this was 12 o'clock, 12:30. All of a sudden, I hear fire trucks going off in the neighborhood. Like, what in the world's going on? My son wakes up, looks out his window. He says, "Dad, they're rioting outside." I was like, "What?" And so I go to the window, and it is 3 fire trucks and 2 cars, police cars. And my neighbor suffered a medical emergency next door. And it put us all.
Oh no.
It's like, oh my God. But, my neighbors were frantic. I don't know what the medical emergency was. And she said, "Pastor, just pray, just pray." And she took off running to the ambulance with
Right there, well.
whomever that.
We have the best. We didn't even talk about that, but we have the best fire department ever. I will tell you, Chief Murkison and his team are absolutely amazing. And even our chief and our SWAT team has been down there in Atlanta for 3 days. And it got to the point they asked for us for a 4th day, Pastor. And I told the board, I said, it may not be within my authority, but they got the Georgia State Patrol, they got Georgia State University, they got City of Atlanta, they got Fulton County. We need to be home taking care of our own at this point. I'm all for rendering aid, but if we're 50 officers